Review and expansion. In the first 17 chapters of the American Accent Training Program, we covered the concepts that form the basis of American speech: intonation, word groups, the staircase, and liaisons, or word connections. We also discussed some key sounds, such as ah, and cat, caught, cut, the L, the American T, and the American R. Let's briefly review each item. Intonation. You've learned some of the reasons for changing the pitch, or saying a word louder or even stretching it out, of some words in a sentence. For example, new information. He bought a car. Contrast. Timing is more important than technique. Opinion. It feels like mink, but I think it's rabbit. Can't. He can't do it. You've also learned how to change meaning by shifting intonation without changing any of the actual words in a sentence. I applied for the job, not you. I applied for the job, but I don't think I'll get it. I applied for the job, not I applied myself to the job. I applied for the job, the one I've been dreaming about for years. I applied for the job, not the lifestyle. Miscellaneous reminders of intonation. When you have a verb-preposition combination, the stress usually goes on the preposition. Pick up, put down, fall in, and so on. Otherwise, prepositions are placed in the valleys of your intonation. It's for you. They're from LA. When you have initials, the stress goes on the last letter. IBM, P.O. Box, ASAP, IOU, and so on. Liaisons and glides. Through liaisons, you learned about voiced and unvoiced consonants, where they're located in the mouth, and which sounds are likely to attach to a following one. You were also introduced to glides. 1. Consonant and vowel. Put it on. 2. Consonant and consonant. Racetrack. 3. Vowel and vowel. No other. 4. T and Y. Put you on. D and Y. Had you? S and Y. Yes, you do. Z and Y. Is your cat? Cat, caught, cut. This lesson was an introduction to pronunciation, especially those highly characteristic sounds ah, and Ah. The jaw moves down and back while the back of the tongue pushes forward and the tip touches the back of the bottom teeth. Sometimes it almost sounds like there's a Y in there. Cat. Ah. Relax the tongue. Open the throat like you're letting the doctor see all the way to your toes. Ah. This sound is the sound that would come out if you were pushed lightly in the stomach. You don't need to put your mouth in any particular position at all. The sound is created when the air is forced out of the diaphragm and past the vocal cords. The American T. T is T, a clear popped sound when it's at the top of the staircase. At the beginning of a word, table. In a stressed syllable, intend. In ST, TS, TR, and CT clusters, instruct. Replaces D after unvoiced consonants. Hoped. T is D, a softer sound when it's in the middle of a staircase. In an unstressed position between vowels, cattle. T and D are held, not pronounced with a sharp burst of air, when they're at the bottom of the staircase. At the end of a word, bought. T is held before N, unstressed and followed by TEN or TAIN, written. T is swallowed by N, interview. The L. The L is closely connected with the schwa. Your tongue drops down and back as if it were going to say but the tip curls up and attaches to the top of the mouth, which requires a strong movement of the tip of the tongue. The air comes out around the sides of the tongue and the sound is held for slightly longer than you'd think. The American R. The main difference between a consonant and a vowel is that with a consonant, there is contact at some point in your mouth. It might be the lips, p, the tongue tip, n, or the throat, g. Like a vowel, however, the R doesn't touch anywhere. It's similar to a schwa, but your tongue curls back in a retroflex movement and produces a sound deep in the throat. The tongue doesn't touch the top of the mouth. Another way to approach it is to put your tongue in position for E and then slide straight back to ear. Some people are more comfortable collapsing their tongue back like an accordion instead of curling it. It doesn't make any difference in the sound, so do whichever you prefer. Application exercises. Now you need to use the exercises you've learned so far and to make the transference to your everyday speech. In the beginning, the process is very slow and analytical, but as you do it over and over again, it becomes natural and unconscious. The exercises presented here will show you how. For example, take any phrase that may catch your ear during a conversation, because it's unfamiliar or for whatever other reason, and work it through the practice sequence used in Review Exercise 1.
Review Exercise 1. To have a friend, be a friend. Take the repeated phrase in the following application steps. Apply each concept indicated there, one at a time, and in the sequence given. Read the sentence out loud 2 or 3 times, concentrating only on the one concept. This means that when you're working on liaisons, for instance, you don't have to pay much attention to intonation, just for that short time. First, read the phrase with no preparation and record yourself doing it. To have a friend, be a friend. Review Exercise 2. To have a friend, be a friend. Go through each step using the following explanation as a guide. Practice the sequence of steps a couple of times, then record yourself again. Place your second recording right after the first one on your tape. Play them both back and see if you hear a strong difference. Review Exercise 3. Get a better water heater. Pause the CD and go through the same steps with Get a better water heater.
Review Exercise 9. Get a better water heater. Go through the same steps with Get a better water heater. 1. Intonation. Get a better water heater. 2. Word groups. Get a better water heater. 3. Liaisons. Get a better water heater. 4. Get a better water heater. 5. The American T. Get a better water heater. 6. The American R. Get a better water heater. 7. Combination of concepts 1 through 6. Get a better water heater.
Review Exercise 4. Your own sentence. Pause the CD and apply the steps to your own sentences.
Are you shy? Does this embarrass you? Are you thinking that people will notice your new accent and criticize you for it? In the beginning, you may feel a little strange with these new sounds that you're using, but don't worry, it's like a new pair of shoes. They take a while to break in and make comfortable. Nevertheless, I hope that you're enjoying this program. Adopting a new accent can become too personal and too emotional an issue, so don't take it too seriously. Relax, have a good time. Play with the sounds that you're making. Whenever a word or phrase strikes your fancy, go somewhere private and comfortable and try out a couple different approaches, styles, and attitudes with it, as you're going to do in the next exercise. If possible, record yourself on tape so you can decide which one suits you best.
Review Exercise 5. Varying emotions. Repeat the following statement and response expressing the various feelings or tone indicated in parentheses. Anger. I told you it wouldn't work. I thought it would. Excitement. I told you it wouldn't work. I thought it would. Disbelief. I told you it wouldn't work. And I thought it would. Smugness. I told you it wouldn't work. I thought it would. Humor. I told you it wouldn't work. I thought it would. Sadness. I told you it wouldn't work. I thought it would. Relief. I told you it wouldn't work. Phew, I thought it would. Resignation. I told you it wouldn't work. I thought it would. Pause the CD and repeat the statement using 3 other tones that you'd like to try. Now that you've run through a couple of emotions and practiced speaking with both meaning and feeling, try having some 2-word conversations. These are pretty common in day-to-day situations. Review exercise 6. Really? Maybe. Repeat the following statements and responses expressing the various feelings. 1. Really? Maybe. 2. Really? Maybe. 3. Really? Maybe. 4. Really? Maybe. 5. Really? Maybe. 6. Really? Maybe. 7. Really? Maybe. 8. Really? Maybe. 9. Really? Really. Pause the CD and try 3 on your own. Review exercise 7. Who did it? I don't know. Repeat the following statements and responses expressing the various feelings. 1. Who did it? I don't know. 2. Who did it? I don't know. 3. Who did it? I don't know. 4. Who did it? I don't know. 5. Who did it? I don't know. 6. Who did it? I don't know. 7. Who did it? I sure don't know. 8. Who did it? I don't know. 9. Who did it? I don't know. 10. Who did it? I don't know. 11. Who did it? I don't know. Review exercise 8. Russian rebellion.
Russia's offensive against rebels in the breakaway region of Chechnya is entering a new phase. On the one hand, Russian forces are taking full control of the Russian capital, Grozny, and Moscow says the war seems to be turning in its favor. On the other hand, the rebels could be retreating Grozny just to fight another day, ensuring a long guerrilla war. The 4-month conflict topped the agenda today during Secretary of State Madeleine Albright's talks with acting Russian President Vladimir Putin. Albright then left for Croatia, about which we'll hear more shortly. But first, we turn to the world's Nenad Shebek in Moscow.
Albright and Putin met for longer than planned today, for nearly 3 hours. After their talks, Albright called the meeting intense but pleasant and offered this assessment of Russia's acting president.
I found him a very well-informed person. He's obviously a Russian patriot and also someone who seeks a normal position for Russia within the West. And he struck me as a problem solver.
Russia's offensive against rebels in the breakaway region of Chechnya is entering a new phase. On the one hand, Russian forces are taking full control of the Russian capital, Grozny, and Moscow says the war seems to be turning in its favor. On the other hand, the rebels could be retreating Grozny just to fight another day, ensuring a long guerrilla war. The 4-month conflict topped the agenda today during Secretary of State Madeleine Albright's talks with acting Russian President Vladimir Putin. Albright then left for Croatia, about which we'll hear more shortly. But first, we turn to the world's Nenad Shevek in Moscow.
Albright and Putin met for longer than planned today, for nearly 3 hours. After their talks, Albright called the meeting intense but pleasant and offered this assessment of Russia's acting president.
I found him a very well-informed person. He's obviously a Russian patriot and also someone who seeks a normal position for Russia within the West. And he struck me as a problem solver.
2-word phrases. Review exercise A. Contrasting descriptive and set phrases. Here we're reprising the exercise from exercises 124 to 137. To review, an adjective and a noun make a descriptive phrase, and the second word is stressed. 2 nouns make a compound noun, or set phrase, and the first word is stressed. Repeat the following sentences. Copy your descriptive phrases and set phrases, exercise 131. You'll continue using these word combinations throughout this series of exercises. 1. It's a short nail. It's a fingernail. 2. It's a chocolate cake. It's a pancake. 3. It's a hot bath. It's a hot tub. 4. It's a long drive. It's a hard drive. 5. It's the back door. It's the backbone. 6. There are 4 cards. It's a card trick. 7. It's a small spot. It's a spotlight. 8. It's a good book. It's a phone book. Review exercise B. Intonation review test. Pause the CD and put an accent mark over the word that should be stressed. One. They live in Los Angeles. 2. Give me a paper bag. 3. Is that your lunch bag? 4. 7-Eleven is a convenience store. 5. Lucky's is a convenience store. 6. Do your homework. 7. He's a good writer. 8. It's an apple pie. 9. It's a pineapple. 10. We like all things. 11. We like everything. 12. It's a moving van. 13. It's a new paper. 14. It's the newspaper. 15. The doll has glass eyes. 16. The doll has eyeglasses. 17. It's a high chair. 18. It's a high chair. 19. It's a baseball. 20. It's a blue ball. 3-word phrases. Review exercise C. Modifying descriptive phrases. When you modify a descriptive phrase by adding an adjective or adverb, you maintain the original intonation pattern and simply add an additional stress point. 1. It's a short nail. It's a really short nail. 2. It's a chocolate cake. It's a tasty chocolate cake. 3. I took a hot bath. I took a long hot bath. 4. It's a hard drive. It's a long hard drive. 5. It's the back door. It's the only back door. 6. There are 4 cards. There are 4 slick cards. 7. It's a little spot. It's a little black spot. 8. It's a good book. It's a really good book. Review exercise D, modifying set phrases. When you modify a set phrase, you maintain the same pattern, leaving the new adjective unstressed. 1. It's a fingernail. It's a short fingernail. 2. It's a pancake. It's a delicious pancake. 3. It's a hot tub. It's a leaky hot tub. 4. It's a hard drive. It's an expensive hard drive. 5. It's the backbone. It's a long backbone. 6. It's a card trick. It's a clever card trick. 7. It's a spotlight. It's a bright spotlight. 8. It's a phone book. It's the new phone book. Review exercise E. 2 and 3 word set phrases. You should be pretty familiar with the idea of a set phrase by now. The next step is when you have more components that link together to form a new thing, a 3-word set phrase. Combine 3 things: finger plus nail plus clipper. Leave the stress on the first word, fingernail clipper. Although you're now using 3 words, they still mean one new thing. Write your own sentences using the word combinations from the previous exercises. 1. It's a fingernail. It's a fingernail clipper. 2. It's a pancake. It's a pancake shop. 3. It's a hot tub. It's a hot tub maker. 4. It's a hard drive. It's a hard drive holder. 5. It's the backbone. It's a backbone massage. 6. It's a playing card. It's a playing card rack. 7. It's a spotlight. It's a spotlight stand. 8. It's a phone book. It's a phone book listing. Review exercise F. 3-word phrase summary. Repeat the following sentences. Write your own sentences at the bottom, carrying over the same examples you used in the previous exercise. 1. A really short nail. A long fingernail. A fingernail clipper. 2. A big chocolate cake. A thin pancake. A pancake shop. 3. A long hot bath. A leaky hot tub. A hot tub maker. 4. A long boring drive. A new hard drive. A hard drive holder. 5. A broken back door. A long backbone. A backbone massage. 6. 4 slick cards. A new playing card. A playing card rack. 7. A small black spot. A bright spotlight. A spotlight stand. 8. A well-written book. An open phone book. A phone book listing. 9. A blind salesman. A blind salesman. 10. A light housekeeper. A lighthouse keeper. 11. A green house plant. A greenhouse plant. Exercise G. 3-word phrase story. The 3 little pigs. Notice where there are patterns, where the words change, but the rhythm stays the same. Straw cutting tools, wood cutting tools, bricklaying tools. Read the story aloud. Once upon a time, there are 3 little pigs. They lived with their kind old mother near a large dark forest. One day they decided to build their own houses. The first little pig used straw. He took his straw-cutting tools, his new lawnmower, and built a little straw house. The second little pig used sticks. He took his wood-cutting tools and some old paintbrushes and built a small wooden house. The third little pig, who was a very hard worker, used bricks. He took his bricklaying tools, an expensive mortar board, and built a large brick house. In the forest lived a big bad wolf. He wanted to eat the 3 little pigs, so he went to the flimsy straw abode and tried to blow it down. "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin," cried the 3 little porkers. But the house was not very strong, and the big bad beast blew it down. The 3 little pigs ran to the rickety wooden structure. But the big bad wolf blew it down too. Quickly, the three little piggies ran to the sturdy brick dwelling and hid inside. The big bad wolf huffed and he puffed, but he couldn't blow the strong brick house down. The three little pigs laughed and danced and sang. Exercise H, Sentence Balance. Goldilocks. One of the most fascinating things about spoken English is how the intonation prepares the listener for what's coming. As you know, the main job of intonation is to announce new information. However, there's a secondary function, and that's to alert the listener of changes down the road. Certain shifts will be dictated for the sake of sentence balance. Set phrases and contrast don't change, but the intonation of a descriptive phrase will move from the second word to the first without changing the meaning. The stress change indicates that it's not the end of the sentence, but rather there's more to come. This is why it's particularly important to speak in phrases instead of word by word. When we practiced Goldilocks and the Three Bears the first time on page 34, we had very short sentences, so we didn't need sentence balance. All of the underlined descriptive phrases would otherwise be stressed on the second word if the shift weren't needed. There's a little girl called Goldilocks. She's walking through a sunny forest and sees a small house. She knocks on the door, but no one answers. She goes inside to see what's there. There are 3 chairs in the large room. Goldilocks sits on the biggest chair. It's too high for her to sit on. She sits on the middle-sized one, but it's too low. She sits on the small chair, and it's just right. On the table, there are 3 bowls of porridge. She tries the first one, but it's too hot to swallow. The second one is too cold, and the third one is just right. So she eats it all. After that, she goes upstairs to look around. There are 3 beds in the bedroom. She sits down on the biggest one. It's too hard to sleep on. The middle-sized bed is too soft. The little one is just right. So she lies down and falls asleep. In the meantime, the family of 3 bears comes home. The papa bear, the mama bear, and the baby bear. They look around and say, "Who's been sitting in our chairs and eating our porridge?" Then they run upstairs and say, "Who's been sleeping in our beds?" Goldilocks wakes up when she hears all the noise and is so scared that she runs out of the house and never comes back. 4-word phrases. Exercise I. Multiple modifiers with set phrases. When you continue to modify a set phrase, you maintain the original intonation pattern and simply add an additional stress point. 1. It's a short fingernail. It's a really short fingernail. 2. It's a banana pancake. It's a tasty banana pancake. 3. It's a leaky hot tub. It's a leaky old hot tub. 4. It's a new hard drive. It's a brand new hard drive. 5. It's a long backbone. It's a long hard backbone. 6. It's a wrinkled playing card. It's a wrinkled old playing card. 7. It's a bright spotlight. It's a bright white spotlight. 8. It's the new phone book. It's a new age phone book. Exercise J. Compound intonation of numbers. In short phrases, teen can be thought of as a separate word in terms of intonation. In longer phrases, the number plus teen becomes one word. Repeat after me. 1. How old is he? He's 14. He's 40. 2. How long has it been? 14 years. 40 years. 3. How old is he? He's 14 years old. He's 40 years old. Exercise K. Modifying three-word set phrases. When you continue to modify a set phrase, you maintain the original intonation pattern and simply add an unstressed modifier. 1. It's a fingernail clipper. It's a new fingernail clipper. 2. It's a pancake shop. It's a good pancake shop. 3. He's a hot tub maker. He's the best hot tub maker. 4. It's a hard drive holder. It's a plastic hard drive holder. 5. It's a backbone massage. It's a painful backbone massage. 6. It's a playing card rack. It's my best playing card rack. 7. It's a spotlight bulb. It's a fragile spotlight bulb. 8. It's a phone book listing. It's an unusual phone book listing. Exercise L. 4-word phrase story. Little Red Riding Hood. Repeat after me. Once upon a time, there was a cute little redhead named Little Red Riding Hood. One day she told her mother that she wanted to take a well-stocked picnic basket to her dear old grandmother on the other side of the dark, scary black forest. Her mother warned her not to talk to strangers, especially the dangerous big bad wolf. Little Red Riding Hood said she'd be careful and left. Halfway there, she saw a mild-mannered hitchhiker. She pulled over in her bright red sports car and offered him a ride. Just before they got to the freeway turnoff for her old grandmother's house, the heavily bearded young man jumped out and ran away. Was he the wolf? He hurried ahead to the waiting grandmother's house, let himself in, ate her, and jumped into her bed to wait for Little Red Riding Hood. When Little Red Riding Hood got to the house, she was surprised. "Grandmother, what big eyes you have!" The wolf replied, "The better to see you with, my dear." "But, grandmother, what big ears you have!" "The better to hear you with, my dear." "Oh, grandmother, what big teeth you have!" "The better to eat you with." And the wolf jumped out of the bed to eat Little Red Riding Hood. Fortunately for her, she was a recently paid-up member of the infamous National Rifle Association, so she pulled out her brand-new shotgun and shot the wolf dead. Exercise M. Building up to 5-word phrases. Repeat after me, then pause the CD and write your own phrases using the same order and form. 1. It's a pot. 2. It's new. 3. It's a new pot. 4. Brand new. 5. It's a brand new pot. 6. It's a teapot. 7. It's a new teapot. 8. It's a brand new teapot. 9. It's a teapot lid. 10. It's a new teapot lid. 11. It's a brand new teapot lid.
Since so many people are familiar with the binary system, let's do a quick review of how complex intonation can be viewed with zeros and ones. Pot. New. New pot. Brand new. Brand new pot. Teapot. New teapot. Brand new teapot. Teapot lid. new teapot lid, brand new teapot lid. Do a global search all and replace for these patterns.
Review Exercise 9, Ignorance on Parade. Now let's dissect a standard paragraph, including its title, as we did in Review Exercise 1. First, in the boxes in the first paragraph, decide which is a descriptive phrase, which is a set phrase, and where any additional stress might fall. Use one of your colored markers to indicate the stressed words. Second, go through the paragraph and mark the remaining stressed words. Third, put slash marks where you think a short pause is appropriate. Listen as I read the paragraph. Review Exercise 10. Ignorance on Parade Explanations. Here, go over each topic point by point.